Hi, I'm Kevin Mullins. Today I'm with the Photographer Academy and we are doing some street photography with some delegates. We are going to be out on the streets of Cardiff, a very busy area, lots of people. It's the school holidays now, so lots of people out from work. And we're going to be hopefully helping the students, the delegates, understand a little bit more about using their cameras for street photography and enabling them to get a little bit closer and beat the fear factor that is usually the problem for shooting candidly on the street. So we're going to be talking quite a lot about zone focusing, and we're going to be using the camera's back buttons to help with, to aid with pre-focusing. And we're going to be setting the students some assignments such as concentrating on colour red, humans, emotions, contact between people. And we're essentially just going to be trying to let them beat that fear factor, get a little bit closer, get more candid pictures, and become a little bit more aware of the features of their cameras that allow them to become a little bit better on the streets.
We talked earlier a lot about the colour red, okay, and red obviously a big primary colour. There's lots of red around. Use your cameras as you wish, as you normally use it, whether it's aperture priority, up to your eyes, makes no difference. But for the first, let's just say 5-10 minutes, get your fingers working, go and get used to seeing things, but use red as that focal point. When you've got this idea of a theme in your head, so that pillar box, the post box, there's a target already, and it's not just a case of going up and taking a picture of the post box, obviously. We want something to bring that together. And then you know what, as a tourist, you might do something like this. I was right in their face and had no idea, because you just blend, I'm actually looking through the viewfinder there, not on the back, through the viewfinder there. I'm not doing that. We'll see what happens. These aren't interesting pictures as such, but it's just about getting used to shooting and moving your hands. We're moving away from the red theme, okay? And what we're going to try and do now is use the pre-focusing on the cameras, okay, to position ourselves and wait for something to come towards us. Not too close, but something that's going to come towards us, okay? So on my camera, we're moving into what's known as, it's affectionately called back button focusing, okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to use this button on the back. It's the same as your AF on button on your Canons. I think it's that button on your back on your Samsung. And what that does is it's going to lock the focus, okay? It means you're starting to move away from the reliance on autofocus. It's still autofocus to a certain extent, but it divorces the focus mechanism from the shutter button, okay? So when you press the shutter button, all you're doing is exposing the image. You're not refocusing. Some of the guys who are here today have got big DSLRs, and a couple have got smaller cameras, mirrorless cameras, and I think really if you're going to be shooting on the streets these days, the smaller the camera, the better. Pretty much everybody has an iPhone or a small point-and-shoot camera with them, so it's much easier to blend in with a smaller camera. If you have a big DSLR, it's going to be much more difficult to get those candid shots without essentially being seen. Okay, so your challenge is this shot of people on a bench. Now you can choose whoever you wish. I shall do it. I go over there, and now you watch the way that I will approach it. Okay. In, out. I'm taking pictures of that building for all intents and purposes, should you decide to look. Now, of course, I just picked that person because it was the easiest one to get to.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is I want you guys to, again, back to the pre-focusing. In pre-focus very close to yourself. Now, I will normally do 5 paces of my own. So if I'm here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, brings me to this line. Okay, so I know I'm back here. I will pre-focus on that line. I'm 5 steps away. But the idea now is to really kind of break away from the reliance on the camera at all. Okay, so when we talk about zone focusing, it's a mechanism that a lot of street photographers use to enable them to shoot
almost invisibly, if you like, and very quickly, and without a reliance on autofocus on their cameras. They will use the distance scale of either the lens or the camera itself to help them decide on the depth of field that they can comfortably shoot in and know that the shot's going to be in focus when they press the exposure button. So in this case, you can see I've got the camera set up, and the distance scale at the bottom is telling me that the focus point will be between 3 feet and probably 5.5, just short of 6 feet. Now that tells me with confidence that everything within that range will be in focus, and so I can shoot pretty much blind from the hip, however I wish, knowing full well that anything that's in that focus zone will be in focus. How you doing?
Just wandering around and holding it like this.
If you had the luxury of time today, you could, and it was a busy afternoon, this kind of area is really where you can get all those kind of close-up type pictures. And there's only one strand of street photography, of course. It's not, the only way to do it. But I find this is a good exercise for breaking down the fear.
Yeah.
Breaking down those barriers a little bit.
Whereas I'd normally put the 7200 on now.
But you're not going to be able to do,
Like these.
exactly. And if I turned around now and did that in their face, they would, scream run a mile. Whereas you may have got that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got one of them. But the moment you bring that camera up, poof, it goes away completely. You know what it's like at weddings when you lift your camera up. People will look at you, they will grin, they will, turn their back on you, or oh, there's the photographer, etc., etc. Whereas if they're not aware of that, then that whole element of it goes away. And I definitely find that some of my favourite pictures are when shooting from the hip, through people, using others to frame it. You do a lot of listening, wait for if people are telling jokes, for example, do a lot of listening, wait until the joke is about to be cracked, and there you are, bang, 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 bang. Pictures in the bag. All right, how did you get on?
Hard, isn't it?
Do you feel like you're a little bit more relaxed in terms of, shooting from the hip and letting people get closer to you rather than you get closer to them?
Yeah, I think if it's like went out tomorrow or something like that, I'd feel more confident. It's knowing that you're in a group and you're all doing
Yeah. And also, when you're by yourself and you're far more relaxed, you have no pressures of time, you can choose where to go. I was just saying to the guys that, like on a busy Saturday afternoon here would be great.
Yeah.
What we've done this afternoon is, I know it's been a short period of time, but we've hopefully got you a little bit more familiar with back button focusing, shooting from the hip, and really, a bit more comfortable with policemen. And ideally, hopefully what will happen now is you can go away, and next time you go out on the streets by yourself, you'll be a little bit more confident of allowing people to get close to you. Not you necessarily getting close to them. That's the big thing. And like I said right at the beginning of today, this is only one strand of it. This is the type of candid street photography I like to do. You can shoot very wide. You can shoot storytelling photos. You can do series of images that are going to kind of do a start, middle, and end. Curate a whole series of pictures. But really, in that period of time we've had today, that's the whole point is to just try and get rid of that fear factor, which is at the very basic level is what really stops people from being comfortable on the streets. So hopefully if you've been watching this afternoon and you can take away a few points to help you when you pick up your camera and hit the streets. Don't be afraid, be a little bit more brave with the camera, and hopefully you'll be able to get those shots that you want to get and be able to get a little bit closer and use your cameras a bit more efficiently, a bit quicker, and just enjoy them more. So thanks for watching the Photographer Academy, and maybe we'll see you again soon.